So we are still with the Noble Eightfold Path, and we are on the subject of Samma Vayama, right effort. The four great effort. Sometimes it is also translated as energy, mental energy. So translated here as the four great effort. So effort is most essential. Without effort, there will be no success, whether worldly or spiritual. So therefore, we need to check our mind and see whether there's this effort arising in our mind. If not, then we need to increase the effort, right effort, not wrong effort. What is this effort actually? What is this effort? And in the Abhidhamma, it is written as the characteristics of effort is supporting the wholesome mind to arise. Effort is to support the wholesome mind to arise. So we need effort to bring up wholesome mind. And if you don't apply effort to bring up the wholesome mind and just let it run by itself, then the chances are we would have a lot of unwholesome mind. Wholesome mind needs to be cultivated, needs to be developed. So therefore, if one who does not cultivate wholesome mind, then the wholesome mind becomes weak. And if you leave the mind to run by itself, to be conditioned, then you find that in life, people have a lot and lots of unwholesome mind. And when it becomes strong, it causes a lot of conflict, a lot of suffering in the world. Unwholesome mind is very concentrated in greed, in hatred, and in delusion. It always has the selfishness of oneself, mostly thinking of the benefits of oneself and not others. Because that is the phenomena, the nature of the ignorance mind that condition from one life to another. It keeps on moving from life to life because of the strong conditioning of the ignorant mind. So therefore, effort is most essential to bring up wholesome mind. Need to reflect, need to say constantly our 5 precepts. So to bring up to our mind that we are Buddhists and therefore we intend to keep the 5 precepts for our own good as well as others. So the characteristics of the effort is to bring up wholesome mind. But that of course is the right effort, the 4 great effort. But the unwholesome minds, you don't need much effort because it is strong. Once the mind is strong, it doesn't need much effort. The energy just push the mind towards to desire, to hatred, ill will, ignorance. When energy is strong, it is like a lot of petrol in a car, and it keeps on moving and moving and moving because there's a lot of petrol. So it moves the car. Quite easy to move the car because it has a lot of energy, a lot of petrol. So that is the characteristics in a sense of the wholesome mind, and of course the unwholesome mind as well. And energy, effort, and it is considered as neither wholesome nor unwholesome. When it mixes with the wholesome, then the energy becomes wholesome energy, right effort. But if it is mixed with the unwholesome mind, then it becomes wrong energy, wrong effort. It keeps on pushing the unwholesome mind, makes the unwholesome mind very strong. When you get angry and the mind keeps on thinking and thinking non-stop, that is the energy that constantly arises to fortify. Yeah, I'm right, I'm not wrong. He should not do that to me, he should not do this to me. I am correct, I am not wrong. So it pushes the mind to keep on thinking that I am right, and he is wrong, or she is wrong, I am right, because he do this thing that is not right. So this energy that constantly pushing the thoughts to keep on going, and of course, it explodes when there's too much energy. Explode in what? Explode in verbal and physical action and comes out as very violent. Becomes very violent in harsh speech, in rough speech, and actions as well. It's very hurtful speech and physical actions of violence. So this energy should be contained when it is unwholesome. So therefore, in the four great effort to prevent it from arising, but when it arises, this energy needs to be contained, should be killed off, in a sense that should be stopped. Should stop this effort, stop this energy from creating more disaster, from creating more suffering, more pain for oneself and for others. Now, in the sense of war, the ill will, the thoughts has become very strong and carried on by this unwholesome energy, and therefore it doesn't matter if it kills someone or harms someone or hurts someone. It doesn't matter anymore because the energy has exploded, become too strong to contain, and comes out by way of speech and bodily action. Exertion, giving energy for the mind to move. So without the energy, then the thoughts die off. If we don't put effort in the thinking, when the unwholesome mind arises, and we do not put effort into it, we just say, okay lah, never mind lah, forget about it lah, just a small matter lah, don't worry lah, I don't want to think anymore lah. So in a sense that we do not further increase the mental effort, energy. So when you do not increase the mental energy, then the mind dies away. It is this mental energy that sustains the mind again and again on the same object. By what? Motivated by greed, hatred, delusion, or non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. And it keeps on pushing, maintaining the object in the mind. Now if the energy is not there, then the object drop off, disappear, and therefore we have a different state of mind. You could have loving kindness arises, you could have forgiveness arises, you could have compassion, you could have wisdom arises. When it disappears, it is not there. But as long as this energy maintain that mental states of consciousness, there is no space for wholesome mind to arise. Because the mind arises one at a time. It cannot arise two minds together at the same time. Then it's two different minds. It's not the same one coming from the same source. You could not have seeing and hearing or smelling consciousness arises at the same time. No, it's one after another. When one die off, another arises, just as when there is seeing, then there is this mind arises connected to seeing consciousness. Only when it dies off will a new mind arises connected to the other senses like hearing. Then a new mind arises with the hearing consciousness. The energy maintained until it dies off. Once it dies off, another new mind arises, maybe through smell, maybe through the body. You feel the body pain, then you start to move. So the energy has sustained that mental object, and it dies off when you divert your attention back to listening to the Dhamma talk. These are the phenomena of the mind, citta niyamas. It works that way. Everybody's mind works the same way. It doesn't work a different way. All of us, all minds, they behave the same way, the same pattern. It arises and falls away. And it arises, it falls away continuously. It arises and fall and pass away depending on the senses. Sometimes our senses maintain the object for a long time because of the energy to maintain the seeing consciousness. When we watch television or when we listen to radio, we can listen for half an hour, 1 hour. But you think that it is there all the time? No. Every 17 thought moment, it passes away, it arises again, and the energy maintaining the same objects, and it continues on, dying and arising, a new mind with the same objects of sound, even though the sound is different. Every word in the song is different, but it anchors on to each words of the song. And the same hearing consciousness with a bit of diversion. A bit of suddenly the mind say, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. Then it comes back to the song. Then it stays on again because of the energy depending on the craving consciousness. The mind to enjoy maintains that energy towards the object of the song. That is the phenomena of the mind. That's how the mind works. If you understand the Cetasikas, understands these various mental states that arises in combination, its function, what did it do? If it arises, then it helps us a lot in our meditation. Help us to understand our mind. It helps us to deal with our mind. Now, if our mind is unwholesome, what should we do? Why is our mind unwholesome? Why is it keep on going and not stopping? Then you know, oh, that is energy. That is energy. It maintains that unwholesome mind. And what should you do? You should not maintain that unwholesome mind. You should not have wrong effort. You should let go. Then what do? As you train in meditation, knowing, angry mind. And as you notice, without further putting effort, the angry mind dies away because the effort is no longer there to maintain the unwholesome mind, the hatred mind, the angry mind. Because you have let go. Then the Buddha says, great effort to let go. Once unwholesome mind has arisen, we must apply great effort to let go. If you don't apply great effort, and if the mental energy is strong, and carries on and on, and the Noble Eightfold Path is lost, and you get very angry or become very depressed and sad, the mind cannot function anymore. The mind becomes chaos, like in a rough sea, like caught up in the volcano. It can't function anymore, become very rough, unstable, or a strong wind. You can't meditate. Even if you sit, you try to sit, mind cannot meditate if you are caught up with this energy that produce very strong, unwholesome mind. And so it's giving energy to the mind to maintain wholesome or unwholesome mind. It acts as marshalling. Marshalling means in a sense that the mental energy has this function of getting all this mental state and push it to go and say, now go to that direction, go to that direction. So it has this marshalling. Then energy arises and makes the mind work. It comes to the mind. Oh, I'm thirsty. Then it pushes the mind to work. Thirsty what? Thirsty, I want to drink. Now what should I drink? I like a cold Milo. I like a cold coffee. I like a hot tea. Makes the mind think, work. And when it's strong enough, then the body works. Then the body go out and make himself a tea or a coffee, or go out to the shop and order a drink and then start to drink. So it has this marshalling, push the Cetasikas, the mental states to function. Without energy, the mind sleeps all the time. The mind becomes very lazy. The mind says, you're very tired lah. But I need a drink. Never mind lah, drink afterwards lah. I'm so tired lah, I need a sleep. I need to sleep. A mind that is lack of energy, cannot do anything, just want to laze around, Doesn't want to work, whether beneficial or not. It doesn't want to work at all. Just want to sleep. Just as when you meditate without energy, it just doesn't want to function. It just not marshal all this mental state, brings out this mindfulness and say, look, see. See this air element, see. So I always say what? Take a deep breath, bring out the energy. If you don't have the energy, the mind refuses to work. To marshal. Marshal is sort of like a sheepdog. It gets all the sheep together and lead them to one direction. And all the sheep, he runs around, get all the sheep in one group, and then lead them towards the direction that he wants the sheep to go. So it has this marshalling and sustaining the mind, whether wholesome mind or unwholesome, is sustained, makes it continue on. So it is so important, the four great efforts in the Noble Eightfold Path, to continue on in the Noble Eightfold Path, to continue on in our meditation practice. It is not easy because external objects are so enticing. The Buddha say, it is so lovely. External objects is so lovely. It is so, in many words, the Buddha say, it is so fantastic. It is so alluring. The path is so, it's no enjoyment. So, hard for the mind to keep on track. And the energy plays a great part to keep the mind on track. No matter what happens, moves on. So in life, sometimes it is very tough. Doesn't rain, but it comes in a storm. Sometimes life is very tough. Sometimes we meet with a lot of difficulties, and the Noble Eightfold Path becomes very difficult to walk on, and many are swept away by the storm. They could not continue the path. The efforts, therefore, is important to maintain the path no matter what. No matter what it comes. If you can't walk fast, you walk slow. If you can't walk slow, then you walk one step at a time. If you keep on walking, you'll pass the storm. But if you don't walk, you're swept away by the storm. It is like you are cycling. The moment you stop cycling, you fall. So whether the road is bumpy or smooth or crooked or a big hole, you have to go around it. No matter what, you have to keep on pedaling. If you stop pedaling, you fall. So is the Noble Eightfold Path. There are times when we need great effort to sustain our wholesome mind. Got to bring out our energy and say, never mind, no matter what, I will note my mind. I will note the object. I will note my feelings. I will note my body. Note. No matter what arises, doesn't matter. Pain, suffering. Bring out the energy and note it. Because these are realities that we encounter along the way until we train our mind and become strong, that they no longer affect us. If you don't come across strong objects, you never develop your paramis. Only when we overcome strong objects, then we know that we have developed our paramis, we have developed our patience, we have developed our energy. No matter what, we still can maintain the path, that you know for sure that you have developed your energy, your effort, because you have gone through it in one piece, gone through the suffering in one piece, and you are still walking. So you must remember that. In hard times, we must take the Noble Eightfold Path as our guide, because we have no more guide. During hard times, there's no more guide. So there's only one guide, and it is the Noble Eightfold Path, because this is for sure the way to Nibbana. Other ways does not reach Nibbana. A lot of time reach suffering, goes different way, off the track, then you get into more suffering, more pain. So you have to maintain that path. So the effort, the energy to sustain is most important. Never mind, no matter what, I will look into my mind. I will look into my feelings. I will look into my body. I will look into the Dhamma, right? Its function is to support associate mental states. It supports. It gives strength. Without energy, the cetasikas, the mental states, falls away. It cannot stand without energy, without support. So it needs the support to stand. In other words, the mind needs energy to think. Without energy, there is no thinking. The mind falls asleep. So its function is to support. Give support to its associate mental states. Give them the support. Like the air giving support to the balloon. Without the air, the balloon collapses. So the air becomes some sort of a support to the balloon. Right? What is manifestation of energy? It is non-collapsible. Manifestation is it does not collapse. When it collapses, means there is no more energy. So it manifests as a lot of energy. People who keeps on working and working, running around, he has a lot of energy mentally. So therefore, it produces physically. So you say, oh, he has so much energy, because there is the manifestation of the energy in the mind, whether it is for good or it is for bad, but it is energy. So make sure it is for good. The energy that arises is for good, not for bad. Because bad energy goes to hell, goes to suffering. It pushes the mind towards hell. In other words, that energy is the way, all the way down, pushes the mind into defilement, pushes the mind down. Right energy pushes the mind towards the Noble Eightfold Path. So make sure it's the right energy. So, energy holds and supports all the associate mental states. Energy is grouped under the 6 particulars, mental states. They are under the 6 particulars. In other words, the particulars, some of these, not all will join up with the wholesome mind, or not 6 together will join up with the unwholesome mind. Just some of them sometimes join up with wholesome or unwholesome. So they are called particulars. When they join up with the wholesome, become wholesome. Join up with the unwholesome, become unwholesome energy. Such as when one does killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, taking of intoxicants, and these arises with unwholesome energy. The energy in the mind says, I want a drink. And the mind says, okay, I will take a drink. And then when it's strong enough, then he goes and get a drink. So it is this energy that maintains the mind all the way, that manifests, the manifestation of taking a cup of liquor and drink the liquor. So it is this energy that is unwholesome energy, and a wholesome energy is different. It maintains. Like you're here tonight, it maintains you all the way, even though you may stay very far away, even though you think that perhaps it may be jam, but still, the energy brings you all the way here. And that is not easy. Whole lot of energy. It's very, very strong energy that brings you all the way here just to sit, to meditate. So you have that very strong effort in your mind, right effort. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. The effort to maintain a wholesome mind, to come to meditate. And what is this meditation? A meditation is to bring up wholesome mind. If you don't meditate, you probably go shopping, you probably go enjoy yourself somewhere else, drinking, or maybe something bad. You do something bad, harming yourself and others. But when you meditate, you come all the way to bring up wholesome mind, to bring out mindfulness, to bring out Dhamma Vicaya, investigation, to bring out equanimity of mind, to bring out calmness, passaddhi. It brings out wholesome mind. The effort brings you all the way here, and when you say it, you keep on bringing the mind to the 4 foundation of mindfulness, and it keeps bringing up the wholesome mental states. And it is this energy that brings it up. and try to maintain it. Once it is up, you try to maintain it. Try to make it strong so that you could gain enlightenment. You could see things as they really are. You could get insight, develop wisdom, and destroy ignorance. That's what you're doing. Energy, effort. The right effort to bring up wholesome mind when it is not there. When it is there, as you're developing it, you try to maintain that wholesome mind so that it can become strong, brings out the other factors of the mind that are important for realization. So you could see in the Noble Eightfold Path, and it appears in the concentration, which are the three factors, mental training. You need to train the mind, cultivate what? Cultivate mindfulness, concentration, effort. Effort is so important. If you don't have energy, you could never develop strong mindfulness. Again, mindfulness is not there. Energy just bring the mind back to the rise and fall, rise and fall. It goes away, bring it back again. Otherwise, if there's no energy there, wholesome energy there, then the mind will be dreaming all the time. You'll be sitting for half an hour and 99.9% the mind is somewhere else. Mind is enjoying. But the effort to wake up the mind, to bring the mind to the meditation object, again and again trying to maintain, to make the mindfulness strong. And when the mindfulness is strong, it conditions strong concentration. Right? And these are the factors, the 7 factors of enlightenment. These are the factors of enlightenment. 3 of them are there. Mindfulness, effort, and concentration. And last Sunday I gave this talk on the 7 factors of enlightenment, and they were very surprised when I told them that when you do dana, the 7 factors of enlightenment are there. When you keep your sila, when you say, I take my 5 precepts, the 7 factors of enlightenment is there. Whenever you meditate, the 7 factors of enlightenment is there. Why? It is there all the time when there is wholesomeness in your mind. Whenever your mind is wholesome, whenever there is mindfulness, all the other factors arises in your mind. And the next question is, why are we not enlightened when all the 7 factors are there in our mind? Because they are not developed, they are weak, they are not strong. If the 7 factors are strong, just listening to Dhamma talk, you become enlightened. Realization, just looking at a falling leaf, you become an arahant. It is not strong, but it is there. It is there. Every time you put your mind into the rising, falling, every moment you're aware, the 7 factors of enlightenment is there. There is this effort to bring up mindfulness, and there is this concentration, but it is weak, it is not strong. It is weak. It is only moment to moment, so it is weak. There is passaddhi, there is this calmness. Every time you are aware of the object, there is no disturbances in your mind. There is no greed, hatred, delusion. There is no fear, no hatred, no irritation, no remorse, no jealousy, no unwholesome mind. So there is passaddhi, there is this calmness, then there is this balance of mind, tatra, majja, tata. Whenever you practice meditation, there is this balance of mind, mindfulness and balance of mind. No likes and dislikes, no clinging to the object, no rejecting the object, just watching, just noting the object. So there is this tatra, majja, tata, equanimity of mind. The factors are all there. Enlightenment factors are all there. Every time you put your mind there, rising, the factors are all there. They are not enlightened because they are not strong. So you have to keep on cultivating these factors. You keep on meditating, you have to keep on noting which is weak. And if it is weak, you need to strengthen the factors. When these factors are developed, they become strong, then comes realization. The flick of the fingers, there is this enlightenment, makapala. When they are fully developed, Like a water, the last drop of water overflows in the cup. As you feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And when it is full, the last drop, just as a falling leaves makes you an arahant. Yeah, that is fantastic. But before then, you have to sit, pain, numbness, itchiness. You gotta keep on watching. Every moment you watch, you are developing your 7 factors of enlightenment. After the Four Noble Truths, perhaps I go back to the previous subject. Go back to the 5 aggregates, 7 factors of enlightenment, for you to recall. But then I would go a bit deeper and deeper so that you could understand more how we can use it for your practice. These are important subjects that you should know, you must know, so that when you practice, you know what to do, you know how to practice. If you do not know anything, then you sit there just rise and fall. For 10 years also rise and fall, nothing else. So you must know what you are developing, what are you doing when you watching this rise and fall. What is there to note? What is weak and what is strong? The Buddha says, you should look at it in 4 ways. Is this there or not? If it's not there, then need to develop it. If it is there, how to develop it and make it strong. When it is strong, how to maintain it. Just as the 4 ways you look into the right effort. Is it there or not? If it's not there, you got to have the energy to bring a wholesome mind. If the energy is there, you must maintain that energy. Make that energy strong. Right? So, from where I left off last week, to prevent unwholesome states of mind that have not yet arisen. So, if we were to continuously do wholesome things, then unwholesome mind do not arise. If we continuously try to maintain that wholesome mind. So there are those who try to do intensive meditation and they try as much as possible to keep on noting when they are sitting, when they are walking, when they are drinking, when they are eating, when they are bathing. They keep on noting and noting and noting so that unwholesome mind has no chance to come in, because they occupy their mind with wholesomeness. So that is one way to prevent unwholesome mind from coming in, to try to keep on bringing up the wholesome mind, to abandon unwholesome mind that has already arisen. And last week I thought about the 5 methods of expelling unwholesome mind. So by gaining another wholesome objects, by switching objects. If you are angry, just turn to your rising, falling, switch object. Or if you're angry, go to the room, watch your mind. Instead of being carried along by unwholesome mind and unwholesome energy, just watch that energy, just watch that unwholesome mind. Then you change from being angry to noting the anger. So they are different. Change the object, switch the object. Or you could practice compassion or loving kindness. You could say to yourself, it is alright, I will not get angry. Alright, I will not angry. I'll practice loving kindness. So you switch over to another object. Instead of getting angry, you say, I'm practicing patience. I'm going to have loving kindness. So that is called switching. And one could reflect on the misery of such unwholesome thoughts. So the unwholesome mind itself, you could reflect on it. You could say that, oh, if my mind is caught up with so much hatred and anger, then I would have no peace. I would have no happiness. If my mind has so much anger and sadness and frustration, then I would not have joy in life. Foolish indeed. It is foolish indeed. There's so much suffering in my mind, right? So one reflects on the misery of
unwholesome mind. And once you reflect on the misery, then the unwholesome mind passes away. You do not grasp it any longer, just as if you do not know, you grasp the snake. But once you know it's a snake, then you let go of the snake. Then it will not bite you anymore. If you hold on to the snake, it will keep biting you. Once you know, oh, this is suffering, this is painful, unwholesome mind, then you let go of the unwholesome mind. Once you let go of it, there will be no more pain, because it will not bite you anymore, right? So, you could ignore it, just don't bother about it. You just consider it unprofitable to think about these things. It is unprofitable, it is no profit. It does not lead to happiness, having this ill will and hatred and anger and frustration. It has no profit for oneself or for others. So such mental states are unprofitable. It does not lead to wisdom or enlightenment or calmness or happiness. It leads to a lot of suffering. So once you consider such mental states when they arise, so you ignore it. After you consider it, you just throw it away like rubbish. You consider that is rubbish mind. It is of no benefit. If you go further, it is smelly if you can smell it. Only thing you can't smell the unwholesome mind. You can smell the rubbish, but you can't smell unwholesome minds. But you could infer that it is of no benefit and causing a lot of pain, right? And it is a compounded nature. Now what is a compounded nature? Means it does not arise by itself. It arises due to condition. Does not arise by itself. Nobody just make it, your anger to arise. No, it is just due to various conditions that it arises. Condition. It is unpleasant object. To you it is unpleasant. The object is unpleasant. Why is it unpleasant? It could be associated with the person. The object associated with that person. For example, a voice, a sound, and it is associated with the one who talk, the one who speak. If it is a friend, then what he speak, you accept it because he's a friend. But if it's someone you don't like, is an enemy who speak, then you don't like it because he's an enemy. So the sound that brings out the concept, and the sound that is connected to someone you don't like, then brings out unhappiness, it brings out anger, ill will, because it is connected. Otherwise, sound by itself is just sound. It is just the bare reality. As you meditate, rising, falling, and people talking or sound arising, you don't bother. You just say hearing, sound, it's just a sound. And then you come back, rising, falling, the mind is not disturbed because when you put bare attention to the sound, it is just a sound. But if you put concept around that sound, then there arises like and dislike. And therefore, when you surround the object with the concept, then you could not experience clearly the intrinsic nature of sound itself. The nature of the sound is arising and disappearing, rising, disappearing. But if you put concept there, you only grasp the concept that is surrounding the sound, but you don't grasp the sound itself, the nature of the sound itself. That is why you can't see the characteristics of that intrinsic nature of the body elements, the body form, the feelings, the mind. We could not see the arising and disappearing of mind, rising and disappearing of the body, of the feeling arising and disappearing, because we are constantly grasping at the concept that surrounds the nature of this bare reality of objects. So we could not penetrate realize this reality because of concept. So when we meditate, we put right attention, we put right effort, direct the mind to see bare reality, just feeling. Just rising and falling, air element, just air element. Watch the mind arising, disappearing, a new thoughts arise. Thinking. What are you thinking? Thinking of the car, thinking of the house, thinking of your money account, and thinking of your loved ones. Then disappear, another thoughts arise. Bare reality, just seeing nature, things as they really are, without concept. And if you see it, the 7 factors of enlightenment, Dhamma Vicaya is developed to look deeper into the surface instead of the concept, to see things as they are, not anchoring on the concept, but the reality, bare reality of the nature object. And once the mind develops these factors of Dhamma Vicaya, looking deeply, then you could see the 3 characteristics of the bare reality of mind and body. That's where enlightenment is. If you don't look deeply, go beyond concept, the object is always covered by objects. You only see concept, you don't see object, you don't see the nature. If you take away the concept, then you see nature. That is why we are practicing meditation here, sitting for half an hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, just watching bare reality, to develop that Dhamma Vicaya, investigation of the mind, to go deeper, directly, bypassing concept. That's where realization is. If we merely depend on concepts, we could not see things as they really are. Then you are tied up with concept. But concept is good, in a sense that concept is, we make a living because of concept. We are able to think, to analyze, to know the cause, the benefits, the laws, if we do like that. Concept is good. It makes us earn a living, makes money for us to have a roof, our head, and car to drive. Concept is good, but concept sometimes also brings a lot of pain, because we only so used to concept that we are totally tied with concepts, and we could not see beyond concepts. And concept not only brings a lot of benefit, it also brings a lot of de-benefits. If concepts are connected to greed, hatred, delusion, is connected to ill will, to anger, to hatred, frustration, then the more you think, the more you suffer pain, mental pain. Greed, the more you think, the more you become crazy with desire, with attachment. If it is connected to that and you wholly depend on concepts, you can't get away from that suffering as long as the concept is tied to greed, hatred, delusion. So right understanding of the Dhamma, right understanding. You must understand clearly what the Buddha taught so that we can put it into practice. If we don't understand clearly what the Buddha taught and we do not know how to apply, how to cultivate, how to develop, then we find it so difficult. We find it so dark. We cannot find a way out. We cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel because it is not clear. It is so hazy. So you should have right understanding on what the Buddha taught, what is important to practice and to cultivate, so that the more we cultivate, the more clear our mind becomes. The clarity of mind, the mindfulness and the wisdom that arises as you see things, the nature of these things, mind and body, when it becomes clearer and clearer, the bare reality of mind and body. Right. So, I have deviated to the Dhamma Vicaya because I gave this talk last Sunday, and I find it useful for you to understand as well. But when I come to this subject again, I'll go more detailed into it. Some important points which if I don't talk now, I may forget later, so I bring it up. I will then continue against the effort. Very soon we'll be at the end of the Noble Eightfold Path, and after the
for great effort, will be concentration, and we'll finish the Noble Eightfold Path subject. So any question for today?